Welcome to the No Limits podcast with your host, E Willy.
All right, guys, we took a little bit of a break, but we're back. Episode number 24 with the great Sefo. What's up?
Thanks for having me.
It's an honor, man. I can't thank you enough for being so flexible. We've gone back and forth for a couple of weeks with the scheduling, and I've had to reschedule on you and stuff, and you've been super flexible and so gracious with that. I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
I book a lot of guests for this podcast and the other podcast that I'm on, the Truth or Theory podcast, and you're by far the easiest guest I've ever worked with. So and I've worked with a lot of people. You're awesome. I really appreciate you.
Oh, thank you. No. Thanks for having me, for sure.
I was telling my wife that we were just at the playground with our kids, letting them burn off some energy because all that Halloween candy. I was like, I was telling her, Ray's so awesome, and this is making it so easy to deal with, having to move stuff on you constantly. It's awesome. So how's it going out there in Vegas?
What was that?
How's it going out there in Vegas? Is it crazy right now? Are people rioting, protesting? Is it chill?
No. Vegas is pretty steady. I mean, it's cold today.
Really?
We're like 58 today, I think.
Oh wow, that is cold for Vegas.
So it's a little cold today.
Yeah. This episode's going to release tomorrow. We're recording this on a Saturday. The election stuff's going on right now, so it's kind of chaotic in different areas. So it's a crazy time we're in, man.
Oh, it really is. It's just I'll be saying to some of my friends also. I was like, listen, all I want to see is I'm not a political guy, but I just want to see our nation united. And I'm one of the, it's funny though, because we were talking about it, like I'm the type of guy that I'm not for one party or another or this or that. I'm gonna put in a vote to who I think is going to be the best president for the country, rather than a certain party, if you will.
Right.
But it is crazy times. I mean, even just talking about the pandemic, for example, the whole world is dealing with this whole issue. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so, listen, it's I think a lot of people being patient, and so I think as long as we're all united and working together, I think we'll all come out on the other end and be a lot better.
Yeah, I agree. Well said. I want to come back to that in a minute because I want to ask you, as a coach and a fight promoter and everything, how's it coping through the pandemic? But we're going to jump into the 6 questions first, and then we'll go into all that stuff.
Sure. Yep.
Number 1, what movie can you watch over and over without ever getting tired of?
That would have to probably be Star Wars.
Oh, really? Star Wars guy?
Yeah. Star Wars was the first movie that my dad took my brothers and I to to watch it in the movie theater.
Yeah.
And it was it was the first Star Wars ever. And I could watch that film over and over. Obviously, as time has gone on, the Star Wars movie has become a lot better in the special effects and and everything else in terms of film and whatnot. So the story is even better. I think that would probably be Star Wars. I mean, the other movie that I actually like a lot, and it's I don't know if you can say this, it's a chick flick, is The Notebook. I mean, I like that movie too, even though, it's such an awesome story to that film as well.
Yeah, that is a good movie.
Yeah.
You can say whatever you want on this podcast. It's no limits. I'm a big Star Wars fan myself, man. That's awesome that you got to see them in the theater when they came out. My older brothers did as well. I was too young for that. Actually, I wasn't even born yet. I think it was 1977. I was born in the 80s. But
I think it came into New Zealand in the 80s.
Oh, really?
I want to say mid 80s. Because I think I want to say I was 13 by the time I saw it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I think it was came to New Zealand in the mid 80s or something like that.
Yeah.
Or they re-showed it or whatever, however that was done. My dad took us to the movie theaters when around that age, and that was the first movie we saw was Star Wars.
Oh wow!
Of course, I was then a science, I love science fiction movies.
Yeah, for sure. Do you like The Mandalorian? Have you watched that yet?
Yeah, I have actually. Yeah, no, that's great too. A good friend Gina Carano's on that.
Yeah.
So
train with you guys, right? Extreme
Couture. That's right. Yeah. She trained with us here at Extreme Couture.
That's awesome. Yeah, I love that show. It's so good. I just watched I think the newest episode this morning. It came out I think yesterday, I believe.
That's right.
Yeah, Star Wars is awesome, man. We could talk about that all day.
Yep.
Number 2, what's the best practical joke that you've played on someone or that was played on you?
The one that sticks out is when I think I was like 17 years old, where one of my teammates, and we were doing Kung Fu at the time, and one of our teammates didn't have armpit hairs, and I was like, oh hey, another buddy of mine, has the same issue, and he went to see the doctor, and the doctor told him that you got to shave your pubic hairs, and when that grows back, it will grow together, right? And he's like, nah, you're messing with me. I go, no, I'm serious. I mean, it's up to you. You don't need to do it, but I'm just telling you that's what happened, right? Half an hour later, he's like, brother, are you sure? I'm like, listen, it's up to you. You don't need to do it. I'm just telling you what the doctor told him. And he goes, oh, man. An hour later, he went and shaved. And of course, as 16, 17-year-olds, it was just hilarious at the time. You know what I mean? And he came back out and he goes, I did it. And I'm like, you idiot.
I bet he was
and he's like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, how can you think that's possible? And of course, there was like 5 or 6 of us. We also did just laughing. And then obviously he found it, he realized how silly it was. So he laughed along as well.
That's funny. Tell him to glue it to his armpits. Huh? He's a late bloomer. Number 3, if you could time travel one time there and back, which time period would you choose? So it could be anything, forwards or backwards.
Time travel. I probably would go back in my first years of K1, like that time when I was signed to K1, and correct certain things that I didn't know, like, or look into a lot of things. For example, nutrition and strength and conditioning, that kind of stuff. But yeah, other than that, I think I love the future more.
Yeah. How far in the future would you go?
Oh, okay. I probably, what's now, 2020? I like to go to 2060.
Oh, wow.
And just to see how far we go as human beings, and whether, for example, us watching sci-fi movies, whether we travel by cars that fly, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting.
Man, that would be a huge change. That's what, 40 years or so? That's a long time. You think about how much has changed just since 2000. It's been so much stuff has changed. Like the smartphones, everybody's got a cell phone. Yeah, I have a smart watch on. Like, there's so much crap that's out there nowadays.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it's funny. One of my friends was just saying today, Lee Colville, who's one of our training partners, and he was just saying, like, imagine what social media would be like for us when in the prime of K1. I said, yeah, it'd probably be the same as the prime of what MMA is today. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, just in 10 years, so much has changed, you know, and you know, obviously some bad and some good, and obviously as us as human beings, we, you know, hopefully we all learn from the mistakes we all make and correct it and make sure that the future is better for our kids.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, if you think about just the fight game alone, how much that's evolving, it's such a crazy thing to think about 40 years from now, what people are going to be doing.
Right. Yeah, no.
Rampage Jackson made a tweet the other day during the fights after that Buckley knockout where that guy did that spinning back kick after he caught his foot.
Right.
He's like, man, the game has changed.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Fresh out of the game. I mean, he might even still be fighting. I'm not sure. But it's crazy. Rampage was just on top of the world just a few years ago.
Right, exactly. I mean, every time you hear the name Rampage, you know, and he's a friend. And every time you hear Quentin's name, I think of when he picked up Aaron and slammed him, and you know, and beat him on that, and stopped him in that fight. That's the first thing that comes to mind.
Yeah, that beautiful power bomb.
Right.
Yeah, that's interesting. All right, number 4. What is something that really irritates you, like a pet peeve that's unique to you?
Just stupidity.
That's fair.
Yeah, you know, listen, I'm not perfect myself. You know, I make mistakes as well, but when it's just plain silly, you know, and people don't have that mindset to kind of like think about things or think through it, you just go, how's that possible?
Yeah, there's a lot of that in our day right now, in our current times, for sure.
That's true.
There's not enough compassion, I think, is the biggest problem. There's lack of compassion, and it's all team versus team type stuff.
Right, exactly.
Speaking of teams, if the election would have went to a tie, Dana White was going to have Biden and Trump as the coaches for the Ultimate Fighter. Wouldn't that be something, huh?
I would have begged Dana to let me be the referee.
Yeah. That would have been awesome. Team Red versus Team Blue.
Right.
All right.
That would have been good.
Number 5. What is an item in your home that is special to you for sentimental reasons?
It'd probably have to be my 6 bouts, 6 world titles that I've won throughout my career. They, you know, it represents everything of who I am, because I've learned so much from the game, and everything that I've done in my life has all, you know, and anything that I whether it was a mistake or a lesson, I equate it all back to, you know, to fighting of how would I deal with it in this situation. So yeah, no, it would have to be my world title bouts that just represents everything in what I've done, you know, in my adult life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, even in my teens, because I mean, I started. My dad gave me my first boxing gloves when I was 5 years old, and I trained through the years of boxing, just sparring and training with my brothers and cousins, because everybody in my dad's family boxed.
Yeah.
And then at the age of, I want to say 12, you know, we ended up training Kung Fu. I did that for 6 years and then switched over to Muay Thai. So my whole life has been in martial arts, and there's so many life lessons that I've learned, and so many great lessons that I've learned through competing and through training, and just, you know, so much that those bouts represents.
Yeah. I can only imagine, man. It's incredible. And the friendships you've gained over the years too, I'm sure, with all the training.
That's right. I mean, you know, even to this day, Anissa Hoos, Peter Ertz, Jerome Urbana, Sam Greco, like all these guys that I competed against, who are from all over the world, we still stay in touch through social media, and, you know,
That's awesome.
and they've become friends. And one of the things I said in one interview, I said, because as fighters, and I don't know about other fighters, but for me, I felt like these guys all played a part in my life, because when we're in there, banging and at each other, throwing punches and kicks and whatnot, trying to win the match, you leave a piece of yourself in there, and they leave a piece of them, and we kind of like take that away from each other. And I think that would always bond us as human beings and as friends.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's one of my favorite things about the fight game as a fan. It's just so incredible to see that two ladies beating the hell out of each other, and then the amount of respect that's gained after it. It's like going to war together.
Right. I mean, just watching, my friend Uriah Hall and his match against, a legend,
Anderson Silva.
And the respect that they showed each other after that match. That's what martial arts is all about, and it's so awesome to see that being displayed for the world to see.
Definitely. Yeah, I love that stuff, man. And anybody that thinks it's just barbaric, that's the kind of fights you got to watch, too. And there's so many of them where the guys end with mutual respect and a better understanding of each other. We could solve wars with that, man. It'd be awesome. Just send one person from each country to be the fighter and be done.
Yeah, that would be such a cool way to kind of like, sort out a dispute. And
absolutely.
Because again, that kind of respect that was shown, and they still can walk away and appreciate each other's craft and how they performed and whatnot. You know what I mean? It should be such an easier way to solve problems.
Definitely. This next question, the last question, is probably going to be the same answer, because what you said is what it is. Number 6, what accomplishment are you most proud of?
Normally I would say, winning 6 world titles, but my kids has kind of pretty much have overtaken that. And
for me, it'd be the belts, man. The belts are awesome. Sorry, kids.
Just the feeling that I felt when my son came into the world. Like, I thought I knew what love was, and then my little girl came into the world. Like, it just blew my mind. I really thought I knew what love was until they came into my life. And then, you got to do the best you can, or I got to do the best I can to make sure that these amazing lives grow up to be good people in the world, and make sure that they do have everything they need to continue to grow and be healthy. And, and of course, there's still many more years for me to kind of teach them to do the right thing.
Right.
And
how many kids do you have?
It would have to be my kids.
Yeah. That's a good answer, man. It changed my life for sure too when I had my girls. I was instantly. As soon as my first daughter came out, I was like, a wave hit me. I was like, wow, this is intense. Like, I cried like a baby, man. My mom looked at me and said that she liked to see this side of me, because I'm not a very emotional kind of person.
It really does. It's amazing what kids does to men. You know what I mean? And especially little girls as well, because you really become really protective and overprotective and whatnot.
Oh, yeah.
And it's funny, I was saying to my my friends that when you think, because they were talking about having their pets and whatnot, I'm like, wait until you have kids.
Yeah.
That dog's gonna sleep outside. Trust me when and now they're going through it themselves, and they're like, wow, you were right, kind of thing. You really don't know what you think what love is and what you know of love. It's really nothing until you actually hold your kids in your hands, and just to look at them and go, wow, this is really, they're part of you, and
they're counting on you. That's the most intense thing. Just
exactly. It's just
that look they give you. It's like, you're my everything. I'm counting on you. Yeah. I'm like, oh man, that's a lot of pressure.
No, it really is.
Yeah. I had a lot of women tell me that too when I was working, when my wife was pregnant, that like, you don't even know anything about love yet. Wait till you see when your kid is born. Like it's going to
Right.
change you. You hear everybody say that, and it's like, it's very true. There's no way around it. It is super true. You don't know love until you've had your own kid. And I feel
Right.
terrible for anybody who's out there that wants kids that can't have that feeling.
Right.
That's heartbreaking. But anybody out there, don't have kids to solve problems. But when you do have a kid, it's going to definitely direct your life for sure.
Right. And it puts a real, a real true meaning to life as well. Because,
Absolutely.
Even it's funny because my son and I talk all the time. And there are things where I said to him, one day you're gonna have kids, and you're gonna go, yeah, my dad said this and this. This is what my dad said would, how it would happen, and blah 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 blah. And so it's that job that never ends, where you're constantly teaching your kids to be good human beings and good people, and how to be safe and whatnot.
Right. Yeah, I'm in my mid 30s and my dad's in his mid 70s, and I still contact him all the time for guidance.
Nice.
I count on him.
Yeah, I was just talking to my parents 2 days ago, but my dad's 84 now, so, and they live in Australia.
Oh wow. Australia's been pretty heavily locked down too, huh? Is it starting to open
That's
up a
right.
little bit?
Yeah, they right now, my brother was telling me that they can't travel state to state anymore.
Wow.
Yeah, they're completely locked down like that. And then a friend of mine, Sam Greco, and one of his students that fought, Jimmy, had fought in the UFC maybe 3 weeks ago now. Mm-hmm. They flew back from Abu Dhabi, and they live in Melbourne, and their layover was in Sydney. They had to quarantine in Sydney for 14 days before they could fly home to Melbourne.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So.
It's a rough fight camp.
Yeah. Well, I mean, lucky for him is that I guess they didn't really mind too much, because Jimmy won by knockout in the first round. I it was like a minute and a half to 2 minutes in the first round. So I think that helped a lot.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And I'm dealing with all the bruises.
Right, exactly.
So how many kids do you have, Ray?
I have two. My son is 11 and my daughter is 5.
5? Okay. I have a 13-year-old son, 8-year-old girl, and a 6-year-old girl. So mine are all young too.
Nice. Yeah. Well, you're one of these guys that, like me, when I was because I love kids, and when I was in my early 20s, I was like, man, I'm going to have a football team. I'm going to have like 15 to 20 kids. And then by the time I was late 20s, I'm like, yeah, maybe 10. Mid 30s, early 30s, I'm like, yeah, maybe 8. By the time I had them, I'm like, nah, 2 is good.
Yeah. Stick with 2, it's solid. Yeah, they're expensive and a lot of work.
Oh, yep. That's so true.
So you grew up in New Zealand. When did you come to the States? Was it like during your fight career?
Yeah. I spent most of my fight career in the States. I've been in the States for 25 years now.
Wow.
It's funny because one of them, a couple of friends of mine from Europe, they were like, when they found out, they were like, oh, wow, we've always thought that you would go to the States to train. We didn't realize you actually lived there. I'm like, yeah, no, I've been in the States for 25 years.
How long have you been with Extreme Couture?
The gym opened because Jay Haran was telling me about the gym that it was opening, and it wasn't until probably about 3 months or 3 to 4 months later that I met Randy, and then I joined the gym. So pretty much around the times it opened. So it's been about 12, 13 years now.
That's awesome. Yeah, growing up watching the MMA, Brandy Couture was always my favorite fighter.
Right.
In MMA, I love Randy. I have a Brandy bobblehead over there in my studio.
Yeah, no, I mean he's such a an awesome guy. He's a good friend, and but I mean everybody loves Randy. He's he's quiet and just a peace-loving guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. When the bell rings, he's an animal in the cage.
Yeah, I bet, man. I've heard stories about it. He's a monster. Who are some of the upcoming prospects out there in Extreme Couture that you can mention?
Yeah, I mean, we have Brad Tavares, we have Misha Sirkinov, we have Ronnie Marks, Cynthia Carvalho is now training with us as well.
Oh, cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Casey, who just signed to the UFC as well, she trains with us as well. I forget B's last name now, but she fights for ONE FC, and
Okay.
she just had camp with us, and then I think because the gym closed down for the week, because we had something like 8 to 12 people that had that tested positive for COVID-19. Her fight was called off, and yet she was negative the whole time, and they still called her fight off. But we have seen so many of young fighters that are coming up. Justin James, who's fought in the UFC, had his first fight in the UFC, and man, did he make a statement? You know what I mean? And there's so many. We have so many young guys, and also fighters that train with us during camp. And then Eric, he's got a fight coming up as well. Ian Henich, that supposed to fight, and he just tested positive, I think, a few days ago for COVID. So now his fight is pulled. We have so many, not only just young guys, but also guys that's been in the game for a while now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you had a positive test
Well,
for COVID?
the other one is Francis Ngannou, who's one of our teammates as well.
He's training with you guys too?
Yeah. Francis has been kind of full time with us for about over a year now, I think.
Oh, really? I didn't realize that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's a monster.
Yeah. Yep.
Have you tested positive for COVID at all yet, or you've been lucky to dodge it?
No, thank God.
Yeah.
Thank goodness. I've been kind of like just being careful and drinking a lot of fluid. Like right in the beginning, when Dr. Fauci was talking about how the virus would, kind of stay around your throat area and whatnot, to make sure that you drink a lot of fluids and drink hot drinks and that kind of stuff as well, and take your vitamins. And so I've been like religious with that, you know what I mean? And wash your hands. I mean, just some of the basic things that we're supposed to naturally do anyway.
Right.
And fortunately, my wife, my kids, my family have been, on negative. So it's been good. But again, when you join you just got to do the right things every day. And,
right.
Remember, wash your hands and everything else that goes with it.
Yeah. I'm kind of on the fence with it, man. I kind of want to just get it and get it over with. I want to get it, beat it, and have it in my system.
Yeah, this is the crazy thing about it. And I think, the more people that actually gets it or contracts it, the more we find out about it. Because out of the guys that we had, there was like 12 or 14 guys, I think, that tested positive in our gym. One of those guys, they had no symptoms whatsoever. Like, he was just normal, right?
Wow. Yeah.
And then some of the other guys, they said the first 2 days was rough, and then it tailored down. They were okay. And then, for example, Eric, that brother tested positive, and then he said for 3 days it just was bad, and then he got an IV done. The next day he was starting to feel right, come right. And then but he still tested positive, and then a week later, when he was now completely cleared of it, physically cleared of it, He tested again. He said he still tested positive.
Wow.
And but now I think he tested again yesterday or a couple of days ago, and he was negative now. But just to what you said, I think the more people that gets it, the more that we know about it or learn about it. And I think also, although we've lost so many people from the COVID-19, I think a lot of, especially because my teammates, everybody's in the gym 6 days a week. We're all training and everybody is healthy. And so it just goes to show that if you're fit and healthy and you're living right, you will get it. But I don't think you would be in. And again, listen, I'm not a doctor. I'm just saying from what I've seen. You know what I mean?
Right.
That a lot of these guys that are healthy and fit and training all the time, they're sick for 2-3 days and then they're good.
Right. That's what I've heard too.
Yeah.
I haven't heard of anybody that's like in decent shape die from it. It seems like a bad head cold. You lose your tastes and your sense of smell for a few days, and then you kind of pass it. It's more of a more dangerous for the elderly, it seems like, or sickly people.
Yeah, that's right. And so just like you, I can't wait for this to just be done and over with, and let people get back to normalcy.
Right, for sure. I got a question for you as a fight fan. By the way, this is surreal that I'm even talking to you, man. I've been a fan of yours since I was a little kid. I grew up loving K1 and you, Ernesto Hoots, Kung Lee, Mark Hunt, all those guys.
Right.
So I kind of got a little bit of fandom going on right now. Who's a fighter that you would have loved to fight that you never got a chance to, either now, present, or in the past, or whatever?
Ooh, that's a good
Somebody
question.
that you would have had fun fighting and challenging yourself against.
You see, the thing is, I fought everybody in K1 and K1 time and whatnot.
Your record is crazy.
If I had to choose anybody now,
or even boxing too, somebody you'd like to box that's past or present, anybody.
I probably would have to say Tyson.
Really?
Yeah, I would probably have to say Mike Tyson because, he was such a beast and such a devastating fighter that I felt everybody, apart from Evander Holyfield and maybe Lennox Lewis and Bones, I think it was, that weren't afraid of him when the fight was set and when they jumped in there. You know what I mean?
Right.
That being said, Lennox Lewis fought Tyson like late, where I wonder how that would have been in his prime. You know what I mean? Evander Holyfield is one of my favorite heavyweights as a boxer, but my all-time favorite boxer is Sugar Ray Leonard.
Really?
Yeah, just because his tenacity, his intelligence in the ring, his footwork, his speed, he just makes it look easy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And of course, so much knowledge and so much talent in there. I just found like he was just one of the. I mean, listen, I love all the other boxers as well. Marvin Hagler, Roberto Duran, Tommy Hearns. The fact that George Foreman at 44 became a world champion again. It's just I mean, I love the fight game. Altogether, whether it be boxing, kickboxing, MMA, but my favorite boxer of all time would have to be Sugar Ray Leonard.
Yeah, it's a good choice.
Yeah, in terms of boxing, in terms of fight, Mike Tyson, just because he's such, and especially because, now that, got to know him, and call him a friend, he's just such a mellow guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, that'd probably be the fight that I would have been great in our primes.
Yeah, I would have definitely paid to watch it. You got my money. What do you think's going to win the Tyson Roy Jones Jr. exhibition fight?
The Powerhouse is always going to be Tyson. The more elusive and stick and move guy is going to be Jones. And yeah, it's a tough one. It depends on how fit Tyson is. Roy Jones looks like he's really taking it seriously. You know what I mean? So I think that fight really depends on how Tyson is prepared. Because if he is well prepared, and I believe the fight's only like 4 rounds.
Oh wow, I didn't know that. Yeah, that's quick
something
fight.
like that. It's either 4 or 6 rounds, but I'm pretty sure I heard 4. If he can go 100 miles an hour for 4 rounds, I think Roy Jones is in trouble.
Yeah,
and I like Roy Jones as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I like both of the guys as well too. They're both great guys, great fighters.
Right.
But I think if it being an exhibition and they're not trying to kill each other, I think it leans in Jones's favor because of the kind of stick and move. You're not trying to kill each other. He's more of a technical type fighter.
To be honest with you, from my past experiences, not only doing it and also watching it, there's never been an exhibition that was a touch and move kind of exhibition. You know what I mean? Like, as soon as and you're talking about old school guys here. Now, again, if they like behind the scenes, if they're like, listen, we know what we're doing, then that's different. But if they're not talking to each other and they're seeing it as an exhibition, but a fight, when those gloves, when that bell rings, and they feel those gloves, those punches are becoming real. Believe you me.
That's awesome. Yeah, thanks for saying that, because that's good to know that inside point. That makes the fight more exciting to me too. Once one gets peppered, it's on.
Right. I just feel like even though that this being promoted as an exhibition, I just feel like as soon as those guys that feel each other's jab, that was a little bit hard, then he's gonna go a little bit harder than the other ones. It's almost kind of like sparring in the gym. Right. And then before you know it, they're throwing bombs at each other.
Yeah. I've been in some of those kind of sparring matches and nowhere near in that level. I know how that goes for sure. It just takes a couple jabs and you're like, shit, we're cranking it up.
Yeah, exactly.
You probably get stung along with your nose. Oh, man, that's good stuff. So what's next for the PFL?
Well, we just made an announcement last week that the season is back in April. Obviously a month earlier than what it was last year. Once when we made the announcement back in the day, nobody really knew exactly what the pandemic was and how long it was going to be and what could we do and how we could maneuver or move around and whatnot. And by the time August hit, or by mid-August, late August, it was already too late to start a season anyway, because the season, it takes 8 months to complete. And so, we were talking to a few of our other partners overseas if that was possible. But as the time nears towards the end of the year, it just seems like, it might be just too late to have anything done. So the main focus right now is just to focus on the season starting back next year in April.
Awesome. I look forward to it. You have any more fights in your future? Or are you done?
Brother, I'm going to be 50 in February. So it's funny though, because I did get a fight offered to me, I want to say 4 months ago.
Really?
So a guy is trying to, a gentleman out of France is trying to put a Legends final fight kind of thing together.
Oh, that's cool.
And yeah, it's just some of the things that he was talking about. How it just didn't make any sense to me, and I'm so busy with everything else as well. I
Yeah.
mean, with PFL coaching, uh, the kids, family, so there's a lot of things that that's on my plate that keeps me busy, and so
Right.
I'm the thing is, I'm in the gym 6 days a week anyway, and I still spar. We're sparring today,
Yeah.
3 times a week. You know what I mean? Sometimes twice, sometimes 3 times a week. But um, the commitment to a fight camp is a little bit different.
Oh, yeah.
And so everything's got to align and everything's got to be right, and it's got to be worth it. And so I just told him that I don't think it's the timing is right, and I don't think it's
Right.
worth my time to do that again. No, listen, if somebody offered me $1 million or whatever it is to do a 3-round fight, I'm like, I'm in.
Yeah. It's not like it's hard for you. That's your world, man. It's the camp. Yeah, I'm a weird fight fan when it comes to that kind of stuff. A lot of people hate seeing the older guys to get back in there, the legends and stuff, because they feel like
Right.
it's a disgrace to their career. But I think my personal fan, my perspective is I'm a fan of you guys no matter what, because you guys are warriors. You've already proven your careers. The fact that you guys still want to fight and still do that stuff, like when these fights get put together, is so amazing to me, and I just love watching. It's like watching wiser warriors fight. Your body is not as good as it was in your prime, but your mind is sharper now, and you've learned more stuff, and it's just so fascinating to me. I could watch Hoist Gracie and Kevin Shamrock 50, and then I'll just keep watching it. I love it, man.
Yeah, no, it's one of these things where I think once a fighter, always a fighter. And, I've seen some fighters that should never jump back in there because you have been fighting for so long and also not. And I mean, listen, it's no hidden secret that fighting is something that if you continue to do it for too long, it can affect you, mentally and whatnot. So there have been fighters that I've seen that have kind of tried to do that, and which I think is, but once you're a fighter, once a fighter, always a fighter. Like there are always going to be fighters up here, you know what I mean? And
right.
So, but it's also good to have people around those people or around those fighters to give them some advice of, maybe it's really time to hang it up. You know what I mean?
Keep them grounded. Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and the health side of it is a big part of it too. The brain trauma and everything. You definitely don't want to risk getting that one hit that's going to give you brain trauma and ruin the rest of your life with your kids and whatever you have going on in your personal life.
That's right, and that's where, and especially when you have kids and whatnot, you really got to be careful.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, my stance on it is from a selfish, just want to watch warriors fight. But as far as the health goes, it's not safe. Like what happened with Chuck in that last fight, that was hard to watch because the old Chuck Liddell had an iron jaw, could take a punch from Tito, and then it just didn't play out the way it would have a few years back. It would have been more of a competitive fight, but
right.
Time is a bitch.
And that's the other thing too, is like you also got to understand that when you're taking that much time away from the game,
yeah,
it's different if like again, like I said, I'm in the gym 6 days a week, and I'm still moving around with the guys 3 days a week, and so it's different if you're taking this time away but you're still active in the gym. But if you're taking so much time away and you're not in there training and still staying sharp and whatnot,
the conditioning of it all,
then it's just an uphill battle that eventually will catch up and it's going to hit you hard.
Yeah, for sure. Being a Star Wars fan, you have that look of like the actor that played Jango Fett, Boba Fett character. if you got an offer for the Mandalorian to be his brother, because they brought him back. I don't know if you said that. Spoiler alert, by the way.
I didn't know that, but hey.
My bad. I'm kidding. It didn't happen.
No, I mean, I'm good because I actually don't mind finding out things about movies before I see it. Like, you know how sometimes people say, man, that movie absolutely sucked. It wasn't great. Then you go watch it and it's like, what are they talking about? It's actually not a bad movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I kind of like hearing about certain things about the film.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm good.
Sorry about that, man. I got so excited. I'm talking to one of my heroes and talking about Star Wars. I went full nerd on you and spoiled it. I want to put a little disclaimer in there whenever the episode releases. Spoiler alert. But yeah, you would make a good like little brother or younger brother to the guy that played Jango Fett, and that would be really cool. You need to add that in there. You down to do it?
Yeah, if that's available, I'm in.
You do it? Cool.
Yep.
I'll get my agent on it. Well, Ray, thank you so much for coming on my little show. This is an honor to have you on here. I'm a huge fan of you. Like I said, it's really cool to be able to talk to you. You have anything you'd like to plug?
Yeah, just now that the election is done, I just want to shout out to the people and just say, listen, it's time for us Americans to unite and come together and just know that we're all in the same country. We are, we love our people, and that we live in the same country. We're all Americans, and that's how we should live and help each other and move forward and as one rather than being united. I mean, being divided. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, but yeah, no, that's my only message. Is just do the right thing and be good to each other.
Well said. Yep, we need it right now more than ever, man. We gotta unite this country back for sure.
Right, exactly.
All right, man. Well, thank you so much for coming on. It's been awesome. Have a good one.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate it. Take care.